Good evening and welcome to another episode of Transcending Veils. I am your host, E.E. Riley, and this beautiful and talented lady next to me is my co host, Audra Moon. Audra, how are you doing tonight, my love?
I am surviving.
You are surviving and you are getting along very well from my point of view.
Oh yeah.
Okay, guys. Okay, sorry, dirty old man. What can I say? Um, All right, guys. Tonight we've got a very special episode, twofold. We are going to be talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren. Got it right.
You did.
Yes, I keep calling him Norman. I don't know why, but Ed and Lorraine Warren. We are going to be talking about them tonight. They're really the godparents of paranormal investigation. And we're going to be talking about some of their stuff, some of their investigations, and whether they are legit or not so much. Yeah, a little
Hmm.
sketchy, if you know what I mean. Um, but that all of that's gonna come up, and we're gonna get that out there. We are right now, by the way, on TikTok Live. At least half of us are. I am. Um, so you guys are getting to see the opening of the show anyway, and I thank you for being here, and I thank you for joining in. Um, but we are also at the end of the show going to be announcing a little contest that I came up
Hmm.
with, and I want you to tune in for that and be a part of that because it's going to be a very special giveaway for you. All right. So anyway, let's get this party started. Ed and Lorraine Warren. I almost called him Norman again. Warren. Even if you're not into the paranormal and you are into like more of the horror movie genre, you know who these people are. I mean, if you watch the Amityville horror movies, if you watch the Conjuring movies, if you watch what else, Audra? What else? What other movies?
Uh, so the Conjuring movies, Annabelle,
Annabelle,
the well, the Enfield Poltergeist is
Haunting,
Conjuring 2.
Conjuring 2, Haunting in Connecticut's another one.
Yeah. Oh,
If
that's
you,
right.
yeah, if you watch the documentary, the Devil on Trial, which is on Netflix right now,
Hmm.
you know who these people are. They're the paranormal investigators that are called in. They're the ones that these stories are built off of. So they have a huge history of being paranormal investigators before that was even a thing, and when they started, everybody was like, "Oh man, this is bullshit. This is they're just trying to make money. They're out there, doing all this hocus pocus crap." And
Hmm.
okay, I got that. You're going to get that. I get that now with what you and I do, Audra. Is I get people going, really?
Hmm.
Paranormal stuff? Seriously, you believe in that shit? Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've experienced it. I have no doubt that there are things out there that we cannot explain to this day. But, and
Mouth.
here's the big but, is that there are a lot of people out there that are exploiting this for profit. They just want to bring you in so they can make a buck.
That's right.
And there's a lot of them that are on your television screen right now doing
Stop
it. And
Sorry,
believe
we got
me,
a lot of problems over here. Like cats fighting and
and,
yeah, it's just
and
it's
yeah,
like
and Andrea is running into problems with her cats who want to be now podcast stars on the paranormal podcast. But yeah, and you always run into that element of, well, this is bullshit, this is fake, this is you're doing this for views or whatever. Um, but once you've experienced that firsthand, once you have lived through that
Mm-hmm.
and seen the other side, it becomes a whole nother world, a whole nother thing. I'm just a regular guy. I've got kids, I got grandkids, I've been married. I'm just like anybody else, but I have experienced the paranormal firsthand in ways that a lot of people can only imagine. And once you live through that, once you go through that, it takes on a whole new light and a whole new meaning. But like I said, there are those out there that will do this for nothing more than profit, to be famous, to be a star, to have their own TV shows. One of them I have a complete and total disdain for. I cannot stand this son of a bitch. He just, yeah. I mean, that's exactly the way I feel when I see him on TV. I just want to punch his punk ass out, because he's only doing it for ratings. And he will go out of his way to ruin anybody that goes against him.
Mm-hmm.
And that ain't it. That ain't what it's about. That is
No.
not what it's about. And the thing with the Warrens is they never considered themselves paranormal investigators ever.
No.
They never called themselves that. They were educators. And the reason they called themselves educators was because when they started back in the 60s, there was this huge interest building in the occult, in having seances and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And wait a second. I just had a weird message up here.
Weird message.
Yeah,
Are you still on TikTok Live?
I am still on TikTok Live. All right. And anyway, we're just gonna push ahead because for some reason that I don't know what happened. But uh anyway, the Warrens never considered themselves paranormal investigators. They considered themselves educators. Why? Because back in the 60s when they first got their start, there was this huge interest that was building in the occult,
Mm-hmm.
and in seances and devil worship and things along those lines, and they were trying to prevent people from getting into that because there were so many people that they talked to that were their lives were really affected by venturing into the dark arts and the dark side, that they wanted to really try to prevent people from doing that by educating them on the occult and on the dark arts. Um, Now, whether it worked or not, I don't know. Um, yeah. Hang on just 1 second. Guys. I'm gonna get out of Facebook Live. Thank you for tuning in. You saw the start of the show. Tune in to see the rest of the show. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the gifts. We will talk at y'all later. All right. I am out of Facebook Live now. Audra, so anyway, you
Yes.
are the uh, expert now in the dark arts. What is your take on all of this?
As far as Ed and Lorraine
You're as bad as
Warren
I am.
go. Yeah, I know. It's awful. Um, so this is, and I'm sure you remember when we covered Annalise Mitchell and exorcisms and the thin line between mental illness and possession. So I was on the fence with that, just kind of like I am here um, with Ed and Lorraine Warren. So the thing is Ed was a self-taught and self-professed demonologist, author, and lecturer. And Lorraine professed to be clairvoyant and a light trance medium who worked closely with Ed. Now, when it comes down to um, that, my notes are a little scattered. Hold on. So when it comes down to that, Ed and Lorraine Warren, so she may have very well been clairvoyant. It's not unheard of that, I do believe to a degree. But Ed, being a self-taught and self-professed demonologist, a lot of people who take the title of a demonologist, they go through studies, and most of the time they do go through the Catholic Church.
Right.
Now, Ed and Lorraine Warren were also considered, or not considered, but they were self-proclaimed Catholics. And in the movies, you can see that because the movies glorify everything, that they worked closely with the Catholic Church.
Right.
Which I didn't find too many real life sources of them actually working with the Catholic Church. And especially the Catholic Church will not acknowledge you as a demonologist without the proper taking the proper rights through them is
Right.
how they proclaim it. I'm like a whole hot mess. I gotta throw cats out of the room. That's gotta happen
Well,
because they are screaming in my face.
my
Sorry.
my question with that is, okay, Ed was a self-taught and self-proclaimed demonologist. All right.
Mhm.
Now, if you went to, I don't know even where you go to study that, but if you went there and studied it, whether it be through the Catholic Church or through a theological academic
Yeah.
school or whatever, I don't know. Um,
You can
what are
certain
you
colleges.
gonna do? You're gonna study it,
Yeah.
You're gonna do the same thing. A person doesn't need a degree to be an expert in anything. If as long as you do the research, you do the studying, you can become an expert in anything. If I sat
Mhm.
down and said, "Okay, I'm going to become an expert in the lives of an ant," and I studied everything about ants,
Mhm. You could.
wouldn't that
You
make
could.
me an expert?
It's
Wouldn't it?
just the fact, yeah, it's just the fact that what throws me off with that is the reports of them having worked so closely with the Vatican or the Catholic Church in some of these cases and being acknowledged as, demonologists through the Catholic Church's eyes. And the Catholic Church, that's a better way of explaining it now that I'm not getting, now that I don't have a cat screaming in my face. So the accounts of them working with the Catholic Church, and I didn't find too many sources that stated that that were in fact true. The Catholic Church would expect them to be trained and certified under the Catholic Church. They're not going to just acknowledge a self-proclaimed demonologist.
Right. But the argument here is, do you need the Catholic diocese to tell you you're an expert in this? When did they become the ones that judged you're an expert in demonology or you're not? When did that happen? You know?
No, I know.
That's the part that's such a huge gray area for me, because
Yeah.
if Ed did his homework and he studied in depth
Mhm.
all of the traits of being possessed by a demon, why couldn't he be considered an expert? Doesn't matter what the Catholic Church thinks. That's regardless of what they think. He probably knew more than the Catholic Church did. And I'm going to step out on a limb here, and I'm going to just say that independent thinkers usually dive deeper than the educated thinkers ever did.
Yeah.
Because the educated thinkers are educating themselves to write a thesis and get their master's.
Yes.
Whereas an independent researcher will dig as deep as he possibly can because he has that hunger. He has that drive to find out the root cause of. So there's an argument right there of, okay, who's right and who's wrong.
Mhm.
Just because you got a big house over in Italy doesn't necessarily mean you're an expert.
No, that's true. Going through my notes here. So there are a lot of people who, well, okay, so first, how about we take a look at some of the cases?
How about
Yeah, so one in particular, now I've got a whole list of cases. Now, one in particular is very close to home, about 20 minutes away from home. The original Conjuring.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
the reason why if I could speak today, that'd be great.
You are
The-
a talk show host. You have
I
to
know,
speak.
I know, and I need to speak well and fluid. It's just not working today.
That's all
Um,
right. We still love you.
Yay. Um, so with Ed and Lorraine Warren, and with that case, with the Perrin family, right? They
All right, hang on a
haven't
second. Hang on a
uh-oh.
second. My clock has stopped, and I don't know why.
Mine's still going.
All right, it just may be me. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna keep going. Hopefully, this is working. There's no reason
Okay.
why it shouldn't be. Okay, yeah, it's working. All right, keep going.
Okay. So the Perrin family, which they're originally from my home state of Rhode Island. It's based out, the Conjuring House is based out of Harrisville, Rhode Island. In 1971, the Warrens claimed that the Harrisville, Rhode Island home of the Perrin family was haunted by a witch who had lived there in the early 19th century. According to the Warrens, Bathsheba Sherman cursed the land so that whoever lived there somehow died a terrible death. The story is the subject of the 2013 film The Conjuring. Lorraine Warren was a consultant to the production and appeared in a cameo role in the film. A reporter for USA Today covered the film's supposed factual grounding. Now, here's what I want to touch on with that.
Yeah.
and where my skepticism with them lies. So Bathsheba Sherman, if I could speak again, talk show host. She's somewhat of a local legend in the
Right.
area. But the fact that, Lorraine Warren was a consultant on that film that demonized Bathsheba, leads me to believe that, and leads me to be a skeptic with them. Now, let's see, convinced that Bathsheba Sherman was haunting them, the parents contacted the Warrens. A self-taught demonologist and self-described clairvoyant, Ed and Lorraine, respectively agreed with that assessment, agreed that it was a witch haunting them. The couple conducted a seance in 1974, during which Carolyn Perrin allegedly got possessed and nearly died. According to Andrea Perrin, her mother's body contorted into a ball. Her mother's screams led Andrea to believe that she had died. She claimed that her mother was possessed for several minutes and was slammed against the floor with her head. Her mother was temporarily unconscious before returning to her former self. I thought I was going to pass out, said Andrea. My mother began to speak a language not of this world and not in a voice of her own. Her chair levitated and she was thrown across the room. That was chronicled in her book and the Bathsheba Search for Evil documentary. Andrea Perrin's father kicked the Warrens out for good after that, and they returned only one more time to ensure Carolyn Perrin had survived the seance. The Perrin family was forced to live in that house until 1980 due to financial reasons. Now, with Bathsheba Sherman, the whole story behind her, the legend is she was, I have a whole thing on it. So she was, supposedly a witch who killed her firstborn son in the name of the devil. And they found a sewing needle, or there were stories of him with a sewing needle to the back of his head. And then there are other stories of she stabbed her son to death, sacrificed him to the devil, and then in which she was hung, cursed the land, blah, 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 blah. The real story, and there are actual, her grave is in Rhode Island. The real story isn't like that at all.
Right.
The real Bathsheba, named Bathsheba Sherman. Well, let me kick it back a minute. So the truth of the matter is far from the claims of the films. The truth, to anyone who takes the time to research this case, will realize there is no evidence whatsoever to suggest that Bathsheba was an evil witch who killed children and hung herself. Yes, Bathsheba was a real person, and the basis for a local legend in the area was based upon the fact that a child in her care was found to have perished, and evidence showed that the child suffered a wound to the back of their head, which was consistent with a sewing needle. As the child had been in her care, the locals believed that she had sacrificed the child to Satan. But after going to trial, no evidence was ever found to support this claim, and she was not found guilty of any crime.
Right.
The real Bathsheba, named Bathsheba Sherman, was also rumored to have killed herself on the land where the Perrin family home would be located. However, all records point to Bathsheba having died in May 1885, 4 years after her husband, having lived to be an old woman. She ended up dying, and she was like 74, 75 when she passed away.
Yeah.
Um,
That all goes back to the post office game,
mhm.
to legend, to hearsay, to passing a story on, and the next person is going to embellish that story and pass it on, and the next person is going to throw their little bit of embellishment and pass it on to
Which,
make the story bigger than it actually
yes.
is. I pray that when I die, they do that with me. I would love to have
Yeah.
my life embellished like that instead of the boring crap that it is,
Oh, I
to
know.
to
But
to be, something exciting. But that's just the way people do stuff.
here's the thing. And this is, like I said, this is where my skepticism lies with the Warrens. They heard of the local legend and they immediately said, "Yep, that's what it is.
Right.
That's what it is."
They pounced on it.
Having no information on the real story of Bathsheba.
Right.
Um, and also, the fact that Lorraine came back in 2013 to be a consultant on the film. Now, maybe it's just me, but if I was in their line of work, okay, and someone was making a movie about a case that I did that was factual and they were doing something like that, I would never sign off on
Right.
that.
Right.
I'd be like, no, because the whole thing is yes, Hollywood makes everything bigger and scarier and, more entertaining. But you're straying so far from the truth at that point and you're going with it. I couldn't as doing what they do, okay, as paranormal experts, um I would want the closest thing to the truth out there.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
Rather where
absolutely. Yeah.
Lorraine is signing off like, oh, yeah, no, that's fine. Even Andrea Perrin wrote a whole book and even explained that, it wasn't like the movie,
Right. Right.
So, and I could see some Hollywood producer or director or writer taking this and fabricating it into this bigger thing. They do it all the time.
Well, of
We
course.
watch them. But to have her come in and be a consultant on it,
Right.
and I would assume you have her consulting the authenticity of it, to at least some degree.
Yeah. And I mean, it boils down so often to, you know, this, to how much are
I
you going
know.
to put in my pocket for me
Mhm.
to say this is how it was? Because honestly, and you when I was in 19, I'm thinking now 75, I read the book, The Amityville Horror, and it
Yep.
scared the living shit out of me. It was just the most terrifying thing I had ever read. And at that time, I was living in a haunted house.
Yep.
I knew what being around ghosts was like. I lived it literally every day. So
Mhm.
I'm reading this book about the Amityville haunting, and it was absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, God, yeah, I can't even fathom what that would be like in the real world. My haunting was absolutely real, but it was nothing like that. It
Yeah.
was not terrifying. It was not life threatening. And then years later, you you have people coming forward like Joe Nickel and Benjamin Radford, who are paranormal investigators in their own right, and they're going, "Hey, man, the Warrens made up everything. It was
Hmm.
all false. It
Yep.
was all a big bunch of lies to make money." And it just kind of, you know, you because I'm at this time, I'm 18, 19 years old, 20 years old. I'm living in a haunted house. I'm looking for answers.
Yeah.
I never believed in this crap before until then. So I want some kind of proof that I'm not the only person in the world seeing this stuff.
Yep.
And I read this book and I see the pictures in the book and I'm going, I'm sold. This is real. And then to turn around and read that these people made all this up and the people that were living in the house made all this up simply because of profit.
Yeah.
Because the house is still standing. It's still there today.
Yep.
People live in that house today. If it
Yeah.
was haunted then, it would
It'd be
still be
haunted
haunted now.
now.
It's not going to go away.
Yeah.
But it's like, was all this bullshit? Was their whole thing just a bunch of crap? I
It's ironic that you're bringing that up because so I was watching something, and this is just something I wrote down um that can be, discussed. And a little question for myself. But I was watching a video and Ed had long since passed. So it was only Lorraine, and she was giving a film tour of the Warren Occult Museum, um, where they have Annabelle and all of that. Um, and she had said, because the guy had questioned the Annabelle doll, because she said, "Oh, that's the most dangerous thing in here." And so the guy who was filming started asking questions, and he said, and she responded with that the doll wouldn't just show activity. Activity needed to be called out or drawn out of it by them, meaning that's what she meant.
right,
And I said, could this just be a tactic to make people believe that inanimate objects that are not actually possessed are actually are being used as conduits? Is this their tactic to say, hey, no, you have this weird stuff happening in your house, but it's that doll. I'm telling you, and I'm going to draw it out and you're going to
right,
see all of this shit, you know?
right,
It just it just seemed the way that her demeanor with it and the way that she said it just seemed like, oh, this is the most dangerous thing in here. Don't touch anything. I won't even look at it. Okay, well, and she did say that I won't even look at it.
right.
Um, but yet you're saying that activity needs to be drawn out. Now, having plenty of experience with paranormal situations, hauntings, any of that. Yeah, I mean, you could draw it out in the sense of egg it on and piss it off, but more often than not, you don't have to draw anything out when it comes to a haunting.
Right.
It does
Right.
it on its own. It is doing it for a reason. There is a purpose. Whether it is, and we have discussed this, whether it is a residual haunting, which is just completely on a loop,
Right.
so things just happen no matter what, or all the way to a poltergeist or a malevolent haunting,
Mhm.
that is going out of its way to scare the shit out of you.
Correct.
So, in my experience and anything else that I've read, it's never been a matter of things being drawn out. So I think it's interesting for them as experts, and for her to say, "Oh, well, I won't even look at it," but oh, it won't do anything unless you call it out. You
Right.
know?
Right. And it's just interesting to me that, like you said, it won't do anything unless you call it out. That's my experience with hauntings. And like I said, living in a haunted house, you didn't have to draw anything. You didn't have to ask for anything to happen.
Yep.
It would happen when you least expected it.
Exactly.
And it when it did, it literally scared the hell out of you.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It and I go back to this so many times, and I have used this so many times. It's almost like beating a dead horse now. But P.T. Barnum said there's a sucker born every minute. And I absolutely believe that. That's it's apparent. It is so apparent by a lot of the quote unquote paranormal videos that are online these days that you watch, that I know you can, and I know I can. You can spot them in a heartbeat when shit's been staged,
Yep.
and and they're selling it, they're pushing it,
Oh
it's
yeah.
so crazy that people aren't using their common sense with this shit anymore. But when
No.
something is real, you're not going to get it on tape. You're not going to have a camera set up waiting for it to happen. It's just going to happen. And it is the most unsettling and unnerving thing you've ever seen. But you have these people out there, like, maybe, and I'm not saying one way or another, but maybe the Warrens, maybe a lot of the ghost quote unquote hunters on the Travel Channel every Saturday night at 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, did I say that? Um, that play on this and
Yep.
will build up stories to keep you there, to keep you tuning in, to keep you giving the money. And it's sad because it puts a bad light on people like you and me who actually believe and have experienced the paranormal.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
say, I can't show you proof. I can't. I don't have it. But I know I lived through it and I know what I saw. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that are playing off this. Now, whether the
Yeah.
Warrens were or not is very questionable with me. It's very questionable. I I honestly, I don't know which way to lean on that with as far as the Warrens go. I really don't, because the 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 stories that they have are so fascinating. I want to believe them. I really do. I really want to believe them.
Yeah.
But then you have people come along that go, "Yeah, that's all bullshit. They didn't do any of that stuff."
Yeah.
That
Well,
that never happened. And the thing is, how do they know? How do they know that it never happened? How do they know it's all bullshit? How do they know it was all fabricated if they weren't there? I can
mhm.
stand back, it's easy for me to stand back and go, Audra, you say you're a witch, but you know what? You're not. That's bullshit. I can say that
You could.
just as easily as I can say, yeah, I absolutely believe
I'm gonna have to
what
get
you
the
do
shout.
and what you're doing is the truth. I can absolutely believe that. I can
Mm-hmm.
do that just as easily. It's which road you choose to go down
Yeah.
and how you
So,
choose to see it.
mhm.
Oh,
um,
oh. You're not going to hex me, are you?
No, don't you? Well, I did say, I said, well, it looks like I'm going to have to get the cow tongue. But no, because you touched on Amityville. Now, I thought this was interesting. Okay. I'm going to read. This is something that I took from, where was my source? Thoughtcatalog.com. They did a report on Ed and Lorraine Warren. Now it says, Ed and Lorraine Warren claim they investigated 10,000 paranormal cases in their lifetime. If they had investigated one case per day, this would take them 27.3 years. One case per day. That's without taking weekends off. As we can see from their books and in the Conjuring universe, some of these cases took days or even months to resolve. Ed Warren also had a day job as a bus driver, and the couple had a child. And they wrote books, made media appearances, and operated an occult museum out of their house. How could they possibly have accomplished all of that? 10,000 cases. Now, I thought that was interesting how they broke that down into how long it would take to actually do 10,000 cases, and they'd have to not have all this other shit going on.
That's an amazing breakdown, because I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
And I had come across the same claim that you did, that they, had 10,000 cases. And
Yeah.
I'm going, man, that's busy. But I didn't know they had all that other shit going on beside that. So
Yeah.
that even, brings more light into it. And like I
Now, as
said,
far as
if they could do that, you and I can get together and we can write a fucking book. We can make shit up. I mean, if they can do it, we can do it. Anybody can do it.
We'll make money off of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
Look at the crap on TikTok. Look at the shit they're putting out there they claim is paranormal. And
Oh
it's
my God.
everyday shit. You're just looking at it, and they're talking in a spooky voice, and they're presenting it in a spooky format, and people are buying it. People are suckers for this crap, And I say this crap. I don't even know why I say it, because, like I said, I'm a huge believer in the paranormal. I have experienced it. I have seen it. I have seen witchcraft in front of my eyes do things that I never thought was possible. I've seen ghosts. I've seen UFOs.
Yep.
With my own eyes, I've experienced this stuff, and that's what I try to bring across to people. I don't have any proof. You can believe me or not believe me. I don't care. I don't have any proof of anything that I've seen or I've experienced in my life. Why? Because it always happens when you least expect it.
Yeah. Now, let me point this out. So, just going to go down a couple of minutes.
Excuse me. Okay.
I'm going to go down a couple of notes that claim that the Warrens were frauds. So, the most famous of all for the couple is the fact that they consulted on the Amityville haunting.
Right.
The book that told the story of this haunting and mentioned the Warrens by name was published by Jay Anson in 1977 and went viral in pop culture. The book became a bestseller, and a movie adaptation starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder became one of the highest grossing independent movies of all time. The book and movie have also been famously debunked as based on a true story. And here are a few concrete examples of confirmed factual errors in the book, according to Snops. The Lutzes could not have found a demonic hoof print in the snow when they said they did, because the weather records showed that there was no snowfall to leave prints in. So there's that. They went back and checked the weather patterns. Though the book details extensive damage to the home's doors and hardware, the original locks, doorknobs, and hinges were actually untouched. The book and film show police being called to the house, but Nickel writes during the 28-day siege that drove the Lutz family from the house, they never once called the police. So it's also worth noting that William Weber, Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s attorney, has publicly stated the story was made up between Jay Anson, the Warrens, and George and Kathy Lutz. Mm-hmm. And then they go on. This is almost everything that's debunking all of their cases. Right. The second Conjuring movie is about the real life Enfield haunting. The real family involved in that haunting did get caught faking evidence of the haunting as shown in the movie. Also, like in the movie, police officers involved really did claim to see objects move on their own at the home. However, as far as the Warrens are involved, people involved in the case say, unlike the movie, in real life, the Warrens showed up uninvited and then left a day later. So they didn't even help.
Right. And I mean, if you look at the documentary of The Devil on Trial.
Yep.
It's the same thing. The people that were involved in that had very little, if nothing, to say about the Warrens. They weren't impressed by them at all. So were they searching for a subject? Were they trying to get that fame? Were they trying to get that dollar?
Yeah.
Or were they actually trying to help? Now, I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of fans of the paranormal that say, "Oh, I love the Warrens. They are so fascinating. They did so much. They were so knowledgeable." And my question was, really? Were
it
they
doesn't
really?
sound like they did all that much.
Yeah,
they showed up and most places kicked them out.
Honestly, you and I could have done the same thing. I've been kicked out of a lot of bars in my life, so getting kicked out of shit is nothing new to me.
But that's the thing. Their cases and their movies, and I shouldn't say the movies, but the cases, the books, everything that they wrote about and lectured, like it's fabricated. If you showed up and helped for a day and then the family found you very unhelpful and said, "Get the fuck out of here." You see what I'm saying? So
I mean, honestly, Audra, if you and I actually sat down in the same room with a computer and an idea that we're going to write a story about a haunting, I bet we could come up with something really juicy,
Oh yeah.
That would be no problem at all. Between my experience and your experience, I think we could come up with a bestseller, to be quite honest with you, because to me, that's exactly what the Warrens have done. And that is exactly what Zach Bagans, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. That guy on the Travel Channel has done.
The guy on the Travel Channel.
Yeah. That's exactly what a lot of them are doing, is they're fabricating these stories and they're throwing them out there to make a buck, to make a living. Okay. They didn't, the Warrens didn't charge for any of their investigations. True. Why would you need to? Why? If you're giving lectures, if you're selling your stories, to go to movie. Do you know how much they pay for your story to make a movie out of it?
Yeah.
It's a fucking fortune, you know.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't charge because
They didn't
so
need to.
they would show up and take the story and
Right.
alter it when they weren't even there for the whole time.
They would walk in, they would say, okay, what's the problem? They would get all the notes, and then they would turn around and walk out. And they
Yeah.
didn't do anything for the family. They just got the story that they could
Yeah.
build off of.
And
And
sold
that
rights too.
that
And
honestly, you get right down to it. You cut away all the mustard. That's
yeah.
exactly the box that I put the Warrens into.
Yep.
Was they were fabricating bullshit, just like a lot of other people, aforementioned people, are doing to make money, you know. And that's all it boils down to. You and I and Alexis, we get out here, we spill our guts about experiences that we've had, the realities that we faced in our life, the things that we have run into. How much money have you made off this podcast?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. See this? I bought this. This is mine. I bought it. See this picture that you're seeing? I pay for that monthly. I haven't made a dime off of this thing, you know? But that's not the reason I'm out here. The reason I'm out here is to open your eyes about the paranormal, to see that there is another reality out there that not everybody is accepting and not everybody is seeing, but it is real.
Yes.
I'm not out here for a profit. If I was out here for a profit, I'd have quit a year ago. But we're 2 years in and we're still doing it, and we still haven't made a dime. So
Yep.
that's that should tell you something right there, that we're not in this for a profit. We're in this to share our experiences, to open your eyes, to make you look at the paranormal with a whole new set of eyes.
And to make you question. Make you
Yeah,
question
absolutely.
your own eyes, your own thoughts, what everyone else says, and also question all the bullshit out there. There's a lot of bullshit out there.
More than I care to even think about. 99.9% of paranormal, everything that you see on the internet is bullshit. Seriously, you have literally 0.001% of the paranormal stuff out there that is real. And if you look at the Transcending Veils page on TikTok, sorry guys, I point out fakes all the time. I will bring them to the surface, and believe me, I have got hate mail like you would not believe about this stuff. But I'm showing you that this is bullshit. These people are doing this just for likes, just for follows, and just to make money. That's the only reason they're doing this. So if I see something that I believe, that I look at and go, that's creepy, I'll put it out there and I'll tell you that. If I don't know how they did it, but see, here's my secret that a lot of you people don't know is I started my career in the computer industry a long time ago. And guess what it was in? Image manipulation and special effects. So I know how all of that shit works because I was there in the beginning. I was there in the beginning of Microsoft. I was in on the ground floor of it. I know how all of that works. So I can spot a fake a mile away. And I will tell you a fake a mile away, So yeah, there's that. Unfortunately, that wasn't around in the Warrens' time. So all you had to go off of was very simply what they were saying. And they were very convincing. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
They were extremely convincing of what they did. Do I buy what they did? Honestly, from my personal experience, no, I don't. I think it was a lot of fabricated bullshit. I think they did a
Mhm.
lot of it for cash. They saw a market and they jumped on it because it was a wide open field at that time. Nobody was looking into paranormal anything at that time.
Yeah.
So they capitalized on it and they made a hell of a living off of it, and good for them. That
Yeah.
they were able to do that. Since then, though, technology has changed. People have changed. People have become a lot more skeptical, and
Yeah.
even the paranormal enthusiasts like myself and like Otter Moon have become very skeptical. And you know, like I said, we can spot them a mile away, guys. So
Mhm.
if you have a question, send it to us. We'll be glad to take care of it for you. You know?
Yeah. Speaking of skeptics, so
So,
with the Warrens, the New England Skeptical Society investigated many of the Warrens' claims. One founder, Stephen Novella, who is also a neurologist and a professor
mhm.
uh, at Yale School of Medicine, said, "You meet them, and oh my God, the guy had no idea what he was doing. Didn't know the first thing about anything relevant to paranormal investigations or ghost phenomenon." He also described the Warrens' occult museum as full of off the shelf Halloween junk, dolls, and toys. The Warrens refused to allow the members from the Skeptical Society to shadow them on paranormal investigations or to examine the evidence the Warrens widely claimed to have had proving the existence of paranormal phenomena. When pressed, Ed Warren said, "You can't have scientific evidence for a spiritual phenomenon." The Warrens themselves claim they once encountered a werewolf demon.
Oh, Jesus.
They have an entire book about this case in which they specifically say they have exhaustive documentation backing up their claims, but they never share that documentation. Why? If you were a paranormal investigator working on a case with a real life werewolf demon, wouldn't you snap a photo? So, Ed and Lorraine Warren also claim they had video evidence of the White Lady, a local legend about a ghostly lady haunting the Union Cemetery in Connecticut. If they have a ghost on video, um why did they never show this video to the public? Stephen Novella from the New England Skeptical Society says he was only allowed to view the video at the Warrens' home, and that even there it seems suspicious. Their piece de resistance is Ed's video of the famous White Lady of Union Cemetery in Easton, Connecticut. "We have only been able to view this tape in the Warrens' home because Ed refused to give it to us for analysis. A common theme in our investigations. The tape shows an apparent white human figure moving behind some tombstones, like videos of UFOs, Bigfoot, and the Loch Ness Monster. However, the figure is at a perfect distance and resolution so that a provocative shape can be seen, but no details which would aid definitive identification."
Right.
So,
And
and
then
here's the thing: if you were, you know, if you had people, coming to you and saying, "Hey, like, let us view all this shit."
right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Let us shadow you on an investigation. Um, if you were the real deal, or you believed, even if you just believed in what you were doing was real, why not let them shadow you?
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Exactly. And that's the thing. When you see paranormal anything, when you see these videos that surface on the internet, question everything. You have
Yep.
to question everything. You cannot take it at face value. That's the biggest mistake you'll ever make, is to take this stuff at face value. Question it. If you want to watch videos and tapes of reputable paranormal investigators, contact me, contact Audra. We will get you in touch with paranormal investigators, and they will show you their tapes. They will show you their investigation tapes. They're all out there. They don't hide anything. They put it out there for the public to see, untouched, unedited, just like it was done. Um, so you have to question everything. But as with all the research I've done, another good resource for our listeners to check into, Vox.com, on the Warrens. They have literally debunked everything the Warrens have done. Everything is debunked. So they're in again. You may be a big fan of Ed and Lorraine, but unless you do your homework, you're not going to find what Audra and I have found. And it was like, I went into this going, yeah, Ed and Lorraine Warren, they are like the premier investigators. And I started doing research, and I was like, fuck, you know, I was so disappointed in all this, because as much research as they have done, there are volumes against debunking every single thing that they have done from day one. And it's like, that my bubble just popped. And I was really, really excited to do this episode, because I don't like to badmouth anybody in the work that they have dedicated their lives to. But when you see the evidence that is not in favor of the Warrens, you can't help but go, wow, that's just, you know, good for them. They made a lot of money off of selling all this crap. Good
Yep.
for them,
They did. They did.
But like I said earlier in the show, P.T. Barnum, there's a sucker born every minute,
Yep.
and they bought it. They bought these tales. They bought these fascinating tales. So really, Audrey, you and I, we need to get together, and we need to start writing stuff.
I know.
Because we could not only get the paranormal, but we could get the sexual paranormal thrown in the middle of it, and make X-rated paranormal stuff, and it would, bam,
do it.
We could sell the hell out of that stuff.
Paranormal porn.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see that. That's
Nope. No, and I know a whole section of TikTok which is all about the monster porn and the paranormal porn.
Right, so, right. I'm 68 years old. I don't do that shit. But anyway, all right. Here we are out of time, Audra.
We are.
We are. Thank you, my love. You once again were fabulous. And guys, once again, Audra is going in to have a little bit of work done tomorrow. So she will be back.
It's not my boobs. I wish it were
not
my
her boobs. Her boobs don't need any work. Believe me.
We're not getting the boobs done.
Wait, that's not the right way to put that. Her boobs are fine. That's not the right way.
They're fine.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
they're okay. No, we're not getting any cosmetic work done. Don't you worry.
You don't need any, sweetie.
I could use a face.
Yeah, well, I could use to be 25 years younger too, and that ain't happening. But you guys wish her well. Please send her your thoughts and your love, and to get well soon. I will worry about her until she texts me and tells me it's all cool. But anyway, with that, oh yeah,
The
the
contest.
contest, the contest. I almost forgot about that. The contest. Here's what we're gonna do, guys. You
Okay.
have
This
what's
is
the
new to me too. I don't know what's
yeah,
going
I haven't told anybody about this. This
on. I
is
have no
something
idea.
that just popped into my head. So it is June 27th, right? Okay. This will be our last June show. Our next show will be later on in July. So by
Hmm.
July, pick a number between 1 and how many days does July have in it? 30 or 31?
30,
30?
31,
I don't know. How
30.
many
I don't
days?
know. Hold on.
We
It
know
has 31.
paranormal. Huh? How many?
31.
31.
31.
Okay. All right. Between now and July the 20th. How's that sound?
I was just going
July
to say the
20th.
20th.
Let's see there. Great minds think alike.
Oh,
Okay. July 20th. Here's what we're going to do. I will take two people. The first two people that can answer this question at transcendingveils.com, transcendingveils, Gmail. Let's say Gmail. Okay.
email.
Got it? Transcending Veils Gmail. That's our show Gmail. The first two
Yep.
people that send me this answer are going to be invited live into this studio on our next show. So
Oh.
here's what I need from you. I need the correct answer, number one. And number two, I will need your email account because I've got to send you a link to let you know when to get into the studio. And you are
Hmm.
invited into this studio as a guest, which means you can sit back behind the scenes, you can text us, you can talk to us, you can do all that stuff. Now, you're not going to be on camera. I'll tell you that right now. You're not going to be recorded, but you will be in this studio live with us to participate in our next show. So, here's the question. Did you have to answer by July 20th? The first two correct answers will be in the studio. How did Audra Moon and I meet?
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. How did
Let's
we
see.
first meet? If you can come to us with a correct answer, the first two people will be part of our next show. All right? Sound fun? Cool. That's it. All
Right.
right. That's all I've got for tonight, Audra. Thank you again. And baby doll, I wish you all the best tomorrow. I will be thinking of you all day. You are a part of my life and my heart and my soul. And you know that I will be right there with you the whole time. So
Absolutely. I'll be fine. I make it through
I
every.
I know you will. You're a tough old bitch, you know.
I am. I
And I mean
am.
that with all due respect and love.
Nope, I get it. I am. I know. I just the hits keep coming and I keep getting back up.
I
So,
can absolutely relate to that. But,
hmm,
until
there's no
next
crying
time,
in baseball.
sweetie, get a hold of me when all is well. Guys,
Will do.
what is your email address, Audra? Please say it right now. It's going to be at the end of the show, but say it now so everyone knows.
My email
Yes,
or our email?
your email so they can send you best wishes.
Oh, okay. My email. So you can send me an email at iaudremoon@gmail.com. You can also find me on TikTok, Audremoon _. And same thing on Instagram, Audremoon _. You guys want to send me some well wishes or some love? I am not going to deny it. So
There you have it, guys. Send her all the love, all the well wishes, all the healing energies you can, because this is the 2024 Scream Queen of podcasts, and I am lucky enough to have her as my partner. So, with that, we are going to sign off before I get too mushy about all this and tell you guys, hey, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. Please go to our channels, join, like, subscribe, give us likes, give us feedback, give us emails. We love to hear from you. And as always, guys, good night and keep it spooky.
Good night, guys.
All right, guys, you know the deal. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for future episodes, feel free to email us at transcendingveils@gmail.com. Also, be sure to follow Transcending Veils on social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And don't be afraid to swing by D.E. Riley and myself's personal Instagrams at Not Really Willy and at AudraMoon_. We got some spooky stuff going on there too. So until the next episode, can't wait to hear from you guys.